That's a historic moment. The first XRP spot ETF just launched in the US, and the market is going wild. Every financial news outlet is buzzing with this huge news, so we have to talk about it too on this channel, and you know that I like to talk about XRP. So what do we have here? According to Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas, this ETF's performance blew his expectations out of the water. On its first day, XRPR racked up an insane 37 million in trading volume. You can feel the market's excitement. It's crazy. Let's buy some. Or should we? No. I think no, hold up, because before you get swept up in the hype and smash that buy button, I've got to share a tough but super important truth. Did you know that this XRPR ETF is not the same as the Bitcoin spot ETF? And the difference is big deal. A lot of people aren't talking about this, or they are not explaining it clearly, as we will see. So today we are diving deep to break it all down. And yeah, we've got to do that. But first off, let's give credit where it's due. XRPR launch is a massive step forward, no matter how you slice it. This ETF is a collaboration between Rex Shares and Osprey Funds, and it's the first ETF that lets you buy spot XRP rates in your stock account. So that's great. The ticker is XRPR. It's already live trading on the Chicago Board Option Exchanges. So that's nice. We have to note that the management fee, of course, is 0.75%. But that's traditional finance, and that's quite okay. We had a Bitcoin ETF that was higher than that, so we can't say anything, but still there are fees. And what else? Another good thing is that according to official documents, it's backed by a ton of real XRP coins, so that's great too. That's why it's called a spot ETF. And even more, to meet some regulatory requirements, it also holds some XRP products from Europe and Canada, plus a bit of cash. So it's legit, it's good, it's great. But as I was saying, there is a big difference with the Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin spot ETFs, they operate under the Securities Act, but here it's not the same, as Cointelegraph told us, but there's not a lot of details here, but we will get into the details. XRPR runs under another act, Investment Company Act. It's a more complex framework built for traditional finance, traditional funds, and these two frameworks create totally different ways of operating and bring different risks. That's what I don't like. I've summed up the differences here in a table, so feel free to screenshot this for later. I will put that maybe bigger. I'm doing everything like that, but let's do that. Okay, it's bigger now. You can screenshot that, and we are back with my head. But yeah, it's different. It's different. If you want a visual, maybe in a nutshell, you can think of Bitcoin spot ETF as the gold bar in your home safe. While XRPR is more like an offshore gold vault receipt model. Let's start with what we really want. We want Bitcoin. We want the gold bar in your home safe. We want like Bitcoin-like ETFs, okay? We want our money to buy real tangible XRPs that will be locked in a transparent safe, guarded by strict US laws. Your name practically engraved on that gold bar. So that other than price swings, you can sleep easy, knowing nothing else is messing with your investment. We would love that. But now XRPR is more like an offshore gold vault receipt. You give your money to the fund, and they turn around and set up a subsidiary in the Cayman Islands. Did you know that? That's a far-off place with totally different rules. They, of course, will tell you, don't worry, your gold is in good hands, it's in the vault, and here is your receipt, that's the proof. But what you own is a promise. Not a gold bar anymore, just a piece of paper from an offshore company. This one difference piles a bunch of extra risks onto your plate that you shouldn't have to deal with, I think. And what's sad is that the document on their website too, they will flat out say that there is a less secure layer between you and your asset, compared to like holding it directly or with a more traditional fund like the one, more traditional ETF like the one with Ethereum and Bitcoin. And that's tricky. What happens if the Cayman Islands change, they change their laws? Or they change the company tax structure. And they also are a middleman that buys and sells XRP. So they are using what we could call a cash redemption process. In plain English, what does that mean? They take your money, they buy XRP, then they sell XRP for cash. And that back and forth creates time lags and trading costs that can lead to tiny tracking errors, between the ETF price and XRP real price. And even worse, since Rex is a company making profits by buying low and selling high, their gains could trigger taxes. But these, tiny differences and those taxes who will pay them in the end? Of course they will pass that to you, even if you didn't sell anything yourself. So yeah, that's quite bad. With all that, you might be thinking, okay, XRPR, it sounds like a mixed bag. Maybe it's bad, and maybe I shouldn't buy that. You know, that XRP ETF is not great after all. But hold on again. There is a huge shift happening in the market. That's great news for investors. If you like XRP, if you want XRP ETFs. And let me open this one. That's what the SEC gave us here. All right, the keyword here. I will put the documents and the links in the description, but what's important is accelerated. SEC paves the way for crypto spot ETFs with new listing rules. That's a revolution. Because, and it got out just one day before XRPR launch. The SEC approved a brand new set of universal listing standards for crypto ETFs specifically. What does that mean? You know that in the past, a crypto ETF was like trudging through a muddy back road, you know. Approvals took 240 days. It cost a fortune and were full of uncertainty. That's why only Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs made it through. But now, the SEC built a highway. New crypto ETFs that meet these standards can get approved in just 75 days with a much smoother process. This signals that the simple, transparent XRP spot ETFs we have been dreaming of, you know, the one that is like the Bitcoin ones, it might be coming soon. So personally, I'm more excited about those ones. This one, XRPR, it was a great step. It was a great step. At least we got one, you know, ETF out. But that's just it for me. So what's the move? Should you buy this one, XRPR, or hold off for the next one? Let's see what real investors are thinking. Let's open the data. What are they thinking? It's really clear here because we have got the data. What are they doing? Are they buying? Do they like that? XRP price chart shows a classic pattern that you know. I think you know it, you know? Buy the rumor, sell the news. From September 17 to the ETF's launch on September 18, XRP price spiked big time, but once trading started on the 18th and 19th, the market vibe shifted. I chatted with a few friends who hold XRP, and they said XRPR's structure is partly fueling this sell the news moment. And it's clear, it doesn't work. It's clear here. The data, the numbers are clear here. They told me they are not interested in XRPR because of the SEC rules, because of the fees, because of the extra risks. Why buy that when you can just hold XRP? XRPR, maybe it's more interesting for institutions, or if you want to be compliant, if you need that on a personal level. I adopt that. You tell me, maybe you need that. But other than that, it's not interesting. I hate, personally, unnecessary complexity or extra risk. I want investments that are crystal clear. And this time, this ETF XRPR, it doesn't give us that. So maybe it's better just to wait for a better ETF, especially now that the highway is open, you know, especially now that we have that. But yeah, anyway, if you've been following my channel, you know I've always had mixed feelings about XRP as a project. To me, it feels a bit too centralized, too concentrated, and its core mission seems to serve the old banking system. It's more about building a new decentralized, you know, I'm more about building a new decentralized world, not just putting a faster engine on an old carriage. But as rational investors, we've got to separate personal feelings from market reality. And I too have to do that, and love it or not, XRPR's launch got, yes, a crazy market love, with massive trading volume, proving there is still great demand out there. So XRPR it's a big step. This launch is a big step, but its unique structure means we investors need to be extra careful, and I don't want to be the one to try it, to take the risk. What do you think? What's your take after watching this? Are you jumping in? Did you already jump in? Are you, like a lab rat experimenting, checking if it's safe for all of us? Or are you holding out for a better ETF? Tell me in the comments below. If this breakdown helped you in any way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notification. I'm Cedric, and I'll catch you in the next one. Yeah, what do you think of that? Tell me in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.